When the new teaser trailer for Superman premiered, it included a look at some of the other comic book characters that would be involved in the film. One, in particular, got just a quick reveal, less than a second, that of Anthony Carrigan's Rex Mason, otherwise known as Metamorpho. And even though Metamorpho has been around since 1965, he's not a household name when it comes to general audiences, and had a lot of people asking about who this character is and what is his story. Well, welcome back to the Comicverse, everyone. This week we're going to answer some of those questions, and those answers might just clue us in on some of the storylines that will be presented in James Gunn's highly anticipated reboot of the DC film universe. Originally created by Ramona Fradon, Rex Mason, a.k.a. Metamorpho, the Element Man, first appeared in issue number 57 of The Brave and the Bold in January of 1965. He has been an ally to both Batman and Superman, a member of the Doom Patrol, and the Justice League Europe. However, he started out as just Rex Mason, a soldier of fortune who was world famous for completing dangerous expeditions to retrieve fantastical relics and uncover mystical secrets of ancient civilizations. And this is where we begin, part 1 of Metamorpho, the Element Man. But before we begin, we would appreciate it if you like, subscribe, share, and comment. It really helps out the channel each and every week. An ancient, lost pyramid in the Upper Nile region of Egypt, Rex Mason is trapped and being bombarded by intense rays of light and radiation. As he stares death in the face, he cries out one last word, Sapphire. We then flash back to the previous day. A cheering crowd of adoring fans are awaiting the arrival of soldier of fortune, Rex Mason, as he returns from his expedition to retrieve the secrets of the South American Indian witch doctors who can shrink the human body. As his plane lands and the gateway opens, Rex exits, and the crowd is aghast. Rex is now tiny. Has he become the latest victim of the witch doctors and been shrunk to minuscule height? The answer to that question comes a few moments before. Sapphire Stagg, daughter to millionaire entrepreneur Simon Stagg and fiancé to Rex Mason, is arguing with a police officer over a speeding ticket. She is going to be late to meet her boyfriend as he returns home. However, as she speeds off again, she sees Rex's plane overhead and a radio on her dashboard begins to crackle. It is Rex. He is skydiving down to her. He directs her so he can gracefully pull the parachute cord and land gently into her arms, and they embrace on the side of the road. Meanwhile, back at the airport, the mayor and all of the fanfare, including the media, discover that Rex Mason has played a practical joke on the lot of them. He has not been shrunken, but instead replaced himself with a miniature wind-up replica. This embarrasses not only the mayor, but also Simon Stagg, who is watching from the comfort of his palatial mansion with his henchman, Java. Java is another of Rex's discoveries, a Neanderthal that was frozen for millennia, until Stagg reanimated him and gave him the gift of higher intelligence. Java is enraged at Rex's joke. Stagg tunes the television to a hidden camera in his daughter's car. The picture on the screen is that of Rex and Sapphire in a passionate embrace, something Java cannot stand to watch as he is obsessed with Sapphire and wants her for himself. Stagg tells Java not to worry, no one will marry Sapphire without his approval, and that Mason has disobeyed his orders for the last time. He will send Mason on another adventure, one he may never return from, this one to capture the Orb of Ra. Meanwhile, Stagg's hooded goons pull up behind Rex and Sapphire in a special truck. They demand that the couple come with them to the Stagg mansion. Rex refuses. However, his refusal is met with a giant metal claw that picks up Sapphire's vehicle and deposits it into the cargo hold of the truck. No worries for Rex, though. He merely quips that this is more private for the couple and their planned activities. Later, as Rex and Sapphire stand before Simon Stagg, Rex is accused of not completing his mission. However, Rex has recovered the magic potion of the witch doctors. He said he would bring it back, and he has done just that. He throws a vial of liquid at the feet of Stagg's pet cheetah, who drinks it and then miraculously shrinks in size. Rex then tells Stagg that he said he would bring it back. He never said that he would hand it over. Stagg holds Java back from attacking Mason at this show of disrespect. Stagg tells Mason that he has a new job for him, one that will pay him $1 million, whether he succeeds or fails. Sapphire begs Rex not to go, but Rex tells her that with that much money, the two of them can get away from her father once and for all and get married. But there is one catch. Stagg tells Mason that Java will accompany him this time to make sure he stays safe and returns with the famous Orb of Ra. And as Rex and Java take off, Stagg and his daughter watch. And Stagg thinks to himself that it will be years before she ever sees Rex Mason ever again. While in the air, Java and Rex do not speak with each other. Rex continues to think about the $1 million. Java focuses on eliminating Rex and having Sapphire all to himself. After crossing the seas in the continent of Africa, the plane arrives at Stag's coordinates, a valley in the Upper Nile River region, and the lost pyramid of Aktun. Except the pyramid is rose red, and it is emitting enormous heat. There must be an incredible power source inside of it to cause this kind of a reaction. Part 2. The origin of Metamorpho. The massive heat coming from the pyramid is damaging the plane and causing massive updrafts. Rex struggles to control the plane, but is eventually able to land it safely, except one of the wheel struts breaks. However, Rex and Java are able to walk towards the pyramid in search of the Orb of Ra. And as Rex and Java inspect the pyramid, they discover that the stone is cool, no longer hot. Java is able to locate a secret passage and, using his enhanced strength, he removes one of the stone blocks from its position. As the two move through the inner passages, they come across the hieroglyphics that tell the story of the Orb of Ra. A meteor crashed nearby, and Aktun carved a piece of it and fashioned it into a scepter as a gift for his pharaoh. Java believes it must be near and rushes off, disregarding Rex's warning to be careful in case there are booby traps. Moments later, in another chamber, sitting upon a throne, Rex and Java discover the Orb of Ra. Rex remarks that, "We found it." Java takes exception to that, believing he did the work and found the scepter by himself. He attacks Rex and the two struggle, but Java is too powerful. He tosses Rex on the stone floor, knocking him out. Java then leaves with the orb, believing he will be able to marry Sapphire now. A few moments later, the force of Rex's body hitting the stone slab triggered a system of counterweights and pulleys. The floor and the wall opens up. He descends onto a conveyor belt which moves him towards another chamber, this one glowing brightly. Inside there is a large rock. It must be the ancient meteor that fell to Earth thousands of years ago. And as Rex gets to his feet, the chamber closes up and seals him inside, and the rock begins to react to his presence, heating up and beginning to fry Rex to a crisp. For his part, Rex believes he is going to die. And in his final moment, Rex remembers a ring that Stag gave him long ago. The ring contains a chemical formula that Stag told him to take if he ever feels death catching up with him. As he drinks the solution, he passes out, lying before the glowing alien rock as it goes from blinding bright to the intensity of a sun. Moments later, the rock returns to normal. No more heat, no more light. Rex awakens, thinking he's dead at first. The chamber door slides open on its own and Rex stumbles out. As he walks to search for an exit, he comes across a mirror. His reflection is not what he remembers. He has been transformed into something abnormal. Different parts of his body are mismatched colors and textures. Rex thinks if he can get outside, to the open air, it will wear off and he'll be normal again, except he cannot find his way out. The block of stone was replaced by Java when he left, trapping him inside. But on some sort of instinct inside his mind, Rex's body transmutes to a gaseous state, and he jets out into freedom through the slim seams of the pyramid stone. When outside, his body reverts back to its solid state. He realizes that he can will himself into different chemical forms now. He uses his new power to manipulate the magnesium, the element that makes up the struts of the plane, to repair it. He takes off in pursuit of Java, who left in a plane secretly sent by Stag in advance. Back at Stag Mansion, Java explains that Rex must have gotten lost in the desert. Stag could not be happier. He has the Orb of Ra, and Rex Mason is no more. Sapphire is beside herself in anger and grief. Java begs Stag to use the Orb of Ra to make him handsome, so Sapphire will love him. Just then a voice rings out. "Simon Stag, hear me. I'm coming in after you." Stag and Java cannot believe it. It's Rex's voice, and soon they won't believe how Rex has returned. The origin of Metamorpho, Part 3. Simon Stag orders his goons to secure the mansion perimeter. The armed group sees only a freak in some costume, not Rex Mason, and they do not take this threat seriously. However, Mason shows them their mistake as he transmutes his form again, this time to solid sodium. He jumps into the moat that surrounds the mansion, and the expelling acrid steam pushes the squad of mercenaries back, allowing Rex to emerge on the other side. This time he will turn into hydrogen gas, odorless, colorless, and tasteless. That will allow him to enter through the mansion vents undetected. He emerges inside the same room occupied by Simon and Java. Sapphire hears Rex call her name. The trio realizes that this new creature is Mason, and Sapphire begins to fall faint and ill. Java attacks, but as he tries to grab Rex's arm, it turns into fluorine gas, nothing to hold on to. Next, he tries a direct punch to the face, but Rex turns his head into a solid block of calcium carbonate, marble to be exact. and Java practically breaks his fist. Rex then turns his right hand into solid cobalt, a metal tougher than steel, and with one punch puts Java down. Stag decides to use a gun and fires, but the bullets have no effect on Mason. In a last desperate attempt to survive, Stag raises the Orb of Ra, and for some reason, this weakens Mason. He's unable to change, leaving Mason helpless. Stag apologetically tells Rex that he never meant for this to happen, that he only wanted Java to leave him in the desert, but now he will do anything he can to make Rex normal again. We then see Rex be subjected to experiment after experiment, test after test. He is invulnerable to electric shock, acid, basically anything, and Stag cannot find a solution. Meanwhile, as the two talk, Java is conscious again, and for him, the only way to make things right is to burn everything down. He sets fire to the mansion. To save the day, Rex turns to fire foam, combining the carbon, sodium, and water in his body to suppress the flames. However, the fire has spread quickly, including up to Sapphire's room in the tower. The structure is weakened and begins to collapse, but Rex is able to make an escape for Sapphire by using calcium to support her body, sliding away from danger. The two lovers embrace, and Sapphire tells Rex that she understands what happened to him, that she would never stop loving him despite being, as Rex calls himself, a walking chemistry set. It is Sapphire that makes him see the possibilities, that he can use these new powers for good. For Stag, he hides the Orb of Ra in a shark tank. Mason is too valuable to him now, and he will control him as long as he has the scepter. But in the moment, that is not important for Rex. With Sapphire at his side, he can now see the silver lining in this new fate, and soon the world will now get to meet a new superhero, Metamorpho, the Element Man. Thus concludes the origin story and the first appearance of Rex Mason in DC Comics. As you can see, his abilities may prove either useful or frustrating for the Man of Steel in the upcoming July release of Superman, and we may now know why Hawkgirl, another Egyptian-based superhero, may be involved in this story as well. The question is, will Rex Mason prove an ally or an enemy to the people of Metropolis once the film hits theaters? Only time will tell. But at least you now know who or what to expect from this often overlooked, yet still fascinating comic book character. I hope you've enjoyed this look back at The Brave and the Bold issue number 57 from January 1965. Join us next week when we look at the origin and backstory of another comic book character making their film debut in the upcoming Superman film, Mr. Terrific. Except we'll have to cover the original, Terry Sloan, who debuted in 1942, and the current Michael Holt, who made his debut in 1997. I hope you'll join us for that. However, if you want more comic book fun right away, check out our look back at the first appearance of Lobo, everyone's favorite galactic bounty hunter, and the rest of our comic book playlist by clicking on the thumbnails at the end of this video. As always, I thank you for watching. Remember, I'm still your reluctant gringo from somewhere south of the border. Salud and a huevo.